about the striking department in Singapore Gaelic Lions Football Club. You are at a halfway point of the league. You are in the Premiership halfway point. You played 9 games out of 18. You scored an astounding 24 goals, which is way above the rest. The next closest to you is 19 goals, although you played a game in hand. So it does seem that you do not have any problem in the striking department. So should I say that on Saturday itself, maybe it's just because you were missing some players?
Yeah, I think we had a few players. We had a few players missing.
JD is one of them. James.
Sorry.
JD is one of them, right? James.
JP unfortunately has actually left the club. JP was the one who scored. I think he scored 4 goals the last time we played JSSL Arsenal. JP has moved to Australia, so we've lost him as a player. Unfortunately, the nature of our team being an expat team means that we will lose players and gain new players on a regular basis.
Right.
So it's quite difficult to keep a stable squad.
Right.
But we had a couple of players missing on Saturday, either through injury or through Christmas holidays. But I think it's no excuse. I think Arsenal took their chances very, very well. They unsettled us in the first half, and even though we put a lot of pressure on them in the second half, we just didn't seem to. The pressure was on our strikers then to score, and we should have taken our chances in the first half and put the game to bed. We didn't do that, and we got caught. We got caught by 2 sucker punches, really. So all credit to Arsenal to come back and beat us. We seem to have some sort of a problem with teams that play in yellow, where most of the players are only 16 or 17. Because when we were in ESDZN, we always seem to lose to ISA as well. So anytime we come up against a team playing in yellow with young players, we seem to freeze, or we don't play our normal game. But our strike force is normally very, very efficient. We've been doing very well. We've been enjoying our football this season. We've been playing some really good football. I think that we've still got a chance to win the league. We just need to make sure that we don't make any further mistakes in the second half of the season.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you out of 9 matches, you won 5, drew 2, and you lost 2. It's still a long way to go in the season. So yeah. Speaking of losing your players, it seems like Glyn Carroll has taken up the position where JP used to be in the middle of the park.
Yeah, that's correct.
He seems to be running around a lot and all. How do you find him compared to JP?
Glyn was actually one of our regular starters in previous seasons. We're lucky enough to have him coming back from injury now. He was injured for the best part of 1 year. He badly twisted an ankle playing in December of last year.
Oh, yeah.
And Glyn has basically been out of action for the best part of 9 months. So luckily, he's just come back to full fitness when we lost JP. Both excellent players, both very creative, and both of them tend to control the middle. They would be our more creative midfield players. So we tend to play a 4-4-2 formation where the 2 central midfielders, one is more defensive, number 6, and the other is more attacking midfielder, more creative. So Glyn has just slipped into the role that JP filled for a year while Glyn was injured.
All right, and another player would be Sean Bigley as well. He was the one who had the shot on target on Saturday, which came in on the 27th minute.
Yeah.
He's one of the regular players, if I'm not wrong, and one of the more aggressive one as well.
Yeah, correct. I mean, Sean is another one of the players who joined us recently. He's been with the club for about a year and a half now. And this season, especially in the EFL, he's scored a number of goals from his left wing position. We nickname him Mr. Angry in the club because he has a tendency to lose the head, as we say in Ireland. But he's been quite influential. He always gets the rest of the team G'd up when our heads drop. But he's been very influential. He's been playing particularly good football this season. Again, he's had some knee injury problems at the end of last season. He had he hurt his knee, and it took a good 6 weeks, 2 months for him to recover. The summer break from ESPN was perfect for him, and coming back to EFL in starting our season in September, he was fully fit. So it's good to have players who can get fit and then stay fit for the duration of the season. We'll be expecting more from Sean in the second half of the season.
Right, that's right. Have you been facing much injury problems while playing in EFL?
To be honest, in the 9 games we've played so far, we haven't had as many injuries as we had last year. I felt that if one of the criticisms of ESPN is that we were playing non-stop every Saturday back-to-back,
right.
Which basically meant that a lot of over the course of a year, a lot of our players were getting exhausted, and when they were getting tired, they were picking up injuries a lot easier.
Yeah.
Having a summer break on EFL, and having the ability to have like a weekend off every now and again with EFL has helped us to keep our players fit. So we're not facing as many injury problems as this year as in the past. And our biggest problem now is actually just is the turnover of players by being an expat team. We're losing another one of our strikers in February.
Oh.
So we're constantly on the lookout. Our American striker Scott is leaving, going back to the US in February. And we also lost one of our defensive midfielders, Kieran McGoldrick, was planning on leaving, moved to Australia, and has just returned to Singapore because he's decided that his transfer overseas didn't work out, so he's come back to join the Lions.
I see. Oh, what's the percentage, the ratio of Irish and non-Irish footballers you have in your squad?
In the squad, I would say it's probably about 70% Irish, 30% non-Irish.
Is it compulsory that you have to keep the Irish ratio majority?
No. But as long as you can drink,
I can drink,
and you can understand, if you can understand Sean Begley's accent, then that's the only prerequisite to joining the club.
Okay, I'll be putting up my application then.
But we really wanted to keep the club Irish. I think the other Irish, the other so-called Irish clubs in the league, like Hibernians, they've really lost their Irish roots.
Right, that's right.
And the majority of the players there now tend to be Scottish or English.
Yes. Yeah.
And obviously, with the Gaelic Lions being affiliated with the Singapore Gaelic Lions Gaelic Football Club, the majority of the players are going to be Irish. Yeah. But we're always looking for new talent, and even if you're not Irish, you're more than welcome to join. We're lucky enough to have a couple of really good local Singaporean players, like Nelson Toe and...
was he playing on Saturdays, that Nelson?
Yeah, Nelson played in the second half.
Right,
yeah, he's one of our wingers.
Right.
So we've got Nelson Toe, we've got Malcolm So. Malcolm actually won the Best Newcomer award to the club last year.
Ah, okay.
But Malcolm again has been injured. He's a long-term injury with an ankle injury similar to Glenn's. He went over an ankle during the summer and hasn't actually played for us this season so far.
Oh, okay.
And then on top of the Singaporeans, then we've got American, South African, German.
Oh, okay. Going back to the match on Saturday, there were two shots on goal, which was cleared off the line by the Arsenal defender. I'm not sure whether, because from my position I couldn't really tell. Were they controversial? Did your side think it was a goal? Because the referee seems to be in a very good position to give his call and not award the goal at all. What does your side think?
To be honest, it's the kind of game where, in retrospect, it would have been great to have linesmen.
Right.
Having that option in EFL is obviously beneficial over the course of the season.
Yes.
In this case, in the game on Saturday, I think that we know Alex as a referee to be very fair and very professional. Oh,
you know Alex, all right. Good.
Yeah. We've had him for a number of years, and he helps us to run the Alan Power Memorial Tournament as well.
Oh, right.
So we have a lot of respect for him. We have a lot of time for him. We don't doubt his judgment. He gives us a lot of freedom to play, which is unlike some of the other referees that we've had in the past. And so in the case of Saturday, I think we all recognise that it would have been nice to have linesmen. Maybe the decision would have been different. But we've learned to play to the whistle. If Alex didn't blow the whistle for a goal, then we have to play on. And I think we also recognise that we missed enough chances to have the game won by half time, that we can't look to those two opportunities, those two chances, or those two controversial decisions to decide the game. We should have won the game in normal time. It's our own fault, so we just have to accept that and move on.
Yeah. Speaking of referees, the last referee before Alex you had was Dave. The match against Titans, and the match before that you had Tony Moore. I'm not sure if you know Tony Moore.
I don't know the names, but I think Titans was the guy who's he's an S-League referee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was an ex-S-League referee. How do you rate him? In that we have found the standard of refereeing in EFL to be superior to that of ESPN. Oh, thank you very much.
Purely in terms of that, I think the referees refereeing the EFL are possibly more used to expat teams, because obviously we're physically bigger and stronger than local teams.
Yes, that's right.
The type of football we play tends to be more, I wouldn't say aggressive, but more physical.
More physical, yeah, that's right.
It tends to be more physical, and the referees in the EFL recognise this. They see it week in, week out with teams like Buena Vista and Hibs and British Club, and they tend to let the games flow a lot more. So we're happier with the level of refereeing, and we've learned as a club also from ESPN. We've also learned as a club that it doesn't really serve any purpose to be shouting at the referee during a game.
Right.
We've never, in 30 years of playing football, I've never yet seen a referee change a decision. And I don't think it's going to start now. So,
I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. We've had trouble. We've had disciplinary trouble within the club previously, but I think we've now learned that it doesn't really serve any purpose. And if you want the referee, so to speak, on your side, you have to respect the referee, and then you'll get respect back from them.
Well said. Yes, well said indeed. In EFL, we are, although we are quite strict with our new registration, the new teams coming in and all, we are quite strict with our referees as well. We assess them, and we do train them to be more fair in terms of in terms when you're playing against a local team and an expat team, they have to have some kind of equilibrium.
Yeah.
And rather than, but it's good to know that what you said just now, that they have been quite fair between the locals and the foreign teams, rather than leaning towards the local teams, the standard of refereeing.
I think it also helps that the teams that are playing within the EFL tend to be, on the majority, very fair and very sporting teams.
Oh, okay.
We have found that we have found some teams that we've come across previously to be quite unscrupulous in terms of their cheating and inviting tackles from Western teams and then playing on the results basically.
Yeah.
So and then the referee falling for this kind of play acting. So we often found this very frustrating.
Yeah.
But in the EFL we found that the referees tend to be very, very fair, but also the teams themselves. I think it's a commendation to some of the local teams like Titans and Arsenal that they don't get involved in this kind of play acting, and which we've seen in other clubs in other leagues.
Yeah.
So overall, I think the quality of the football is better, and certainly the sportsmanship. At the end of the day, football for us in Singapore is a weekend's activity, social activity. We've all got jobs to go to on a Monday. Nobody wants to get injured. Nobody wants to get badly hurt on a weekend.
Definitely.
So we have to try and keep that spirit in the leagues and in the games that we play on a weekly basis.
Oh, okay.